What's going on, guys? I'm Combat Craig, and this is Mental Health Symptoms Explained. Not all of them, just 14 of them. I've been working on the list from the DBQ, and it's pretty extensive. So I thought I'd break it in half. So I'm not a doctor. I am crazy. This is my own interpretation of these mental health symptoms, and you need a diagnosis if you want to get rated. And the rating that you're going to get depends on the diagnosis, and it also depends on the severity, duration, and frequency of your symptoms. So this is a jumping off point. I think it's a good idea for you to, look inside, figure out how crazy you are, and see if you can put any symptoms together. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything without a board-certified psychologist or psychiatrist actually diagnosing you. It's a good part, get a starting point and figure out, where you're at, what kind of problems you have. You can steer these guys a little bit. So if you have a question, type the letter Q, and I will answer it after I go through this presentation, if you want to call that crazy presentation. And if you're watching the replay, I answer the comments, so you can ask the question there. And then if you're new, how's it going? Type new in the comments. So screen share mode. Also, I'm monitoring the super chats, so those pop up. So this is the list, and like I said, these are the list of symptoms that are on the DBQ for mental health. So all of them are the same one, whether it's combat PTSD, major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, somatic symptom disorder, bipolar disorder, yada, 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 all of them, right? So they all have symptoms, and they all, one way or another, end up being on a checkbox here. So that's what we're going to go through. I'm going to go through the top ones, but just to kind of run through the whole list. So, if these may apply to you or something like that. Depressed mood, anxiety, suspiciousness, panic attacks that occur weekly or less often, panic attacks that occur more than once a week, near continuous panic or depression, chronic sleep impairment, mild memory loss, impairment of short and long-term memory, memory loss for names of close relatives, flattened effect. Circumstantial circumlocutory, spelled that wrong or pronounced it wrong, or stereotyped speech. Speech intermittently illogical, obscure, or irrelevant. Kind of what I'm doing right now. Difficulty in understanding complex commands. Impaired judgment. Impaired abstract thinking. Gross impairment in thought process or communication. Disturbances of mood and motivation. Difficulty in establishing and maintaining effective work and social relationships. Difficulty adapting to stressful circumstances, including work or a work-like setting. Inability to establish and maintain effective relationships. Suicidal ideation. Obsessional rituals. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Spatial disorientation. Persistent delusions or hallucinations. Grossly inappropriate behavior. That's probably going to be happening in this chat tonight. Persistent danger of hurting self or others. Neglect of personal appearance or hygiene. Intermittent inability to perform activities of daily living, washing your pits and your ass and all that stuff. Disorientation to time and place. So let's start off with depressed mood. And went through that list. So the first thing I'd like to say about mental health symptoms and VA claims is it's weird that the way that they lay it out on the DBQ, they're check boxes, but really it's like a guideline. Depressed mood, we're going to go into that one. But you could have any of these symptoms on the checkbox, or you could have symptoms that are kind of like that. And this is up to your psychologist to figure out what symptoms you have. That's why I think it's a good idea for you to try to figure out what you have, because it's like, once we get into this, it's like, wow, which do I have this? Do I not have this? Do I kind of have this? Am I being illogical and just rambling right now? Yes, I am, by the way, because I am crazy. So depressed mood. Let me get back over to the screen share here. So this can be a diagnosis of unspecified depressive disorder or major depression disorder. I think it might be major depressive disorder. I've had both before I got diagnosed with combat PTSD, and they change it over time. At one time I had unspecified depressive disorder. That was angering. Like, of course I know it's not unspecified. I know where it's coming from, but that's what they put it down. That's what they put down for me. You've got whatever you've got, and you have to tease this out and turn it into something that you can actually use and get rated for. So it can be exactly what it says, depressed mood, right? But it hangs around for a while. It's not like being sad. Oh, I lost my pet, and yeah, I'm sad for a little while. Not like that. This is something that hangs on for years. It never goes away. Depressed mood. This is a diagnosis of depression. They call it depressed mood, though. And this is another point, when you're talking about a VA claim for mental health, it's all about, this is the way they've set it up. This is their verbiage. These are their rules. They don't like mental health DBQs done out of state anymore. They make the rules and we play by the rules. If we want the rules changed, which I totally do, we're going to need to change the rules. Until then, we play, by what we have, right? So symptoms of depression. And first of all, going down a little bit deeper, you can have mild, moderate, or severe symptoms of depression. So when we're going through the mental health ratings, let me switch back over to the full screen. When we're going through the mental health ratings, it's 0, 10, 30, 50, 70, 100. So 0 doesn't really bother you. You have a diagnosis of depression, doesn't really bother you. Don't really see how that would apply. I mean, why even bother diagnosing me with depression if it doesn't bother me? But anyway, retarded VA stuff. Mild, 10% mild, controlled with medication. And it goes up through there. So as these DBQs do not match up exactly with the rating criteria, the 0, 10, 30, 50, 70, and 100, it's the best thing we have. And this is what we have to work with. And to a degree, it does match up. But, it's all about severity, duration, and frequency. And then, how mild, moderate, or severe is it? And, there's your interpretation of this. And there's the doctor that diagnoses you. So you got to pack all this stuff into like a checkbox. Depressed mood, yes. Like, so that pretty much sucks. But again, is what it is. So symptoms of depression can be trouble sleeping or oversleeping. And that actually, goes into another symptom that I'm going to talk about. And I might as well talk about that too. These things overlap and interweave and stuff like that. That's why if you have multiple diagnoses for mental health conditions, you're going to get one rating, like 95% of the time, probably higher than that. You can't tell, what's causing what. There's so much overlap going on, but you got to do the best you can to figure out what's going on with you. That's where the open and honest part comes in. The more weird it is, I talk about weird porn, actual crimes that you got away with, actual crimes you got charged with. Ever go down the 5150 road? Ever get locked up for 72 hours and get on hold, get your guns taken away? That's another easy way to do it. So there's what's going on, what you got away with, and what you got caught doing. So you got to take all these things into account, and it should be embarrassing because it is. But you start talking about it, the VA will rate you for it. May not be appropriately, but it depends on how well you're able to, talk about your feelings. So no interest in doing things that used to make you happy, just like I just don't give a shit anymore. Nothing makes me happy. For me, for the most part, like my dog, I don't have the Clyde cam on, but he's scratching his ear. My dog makes me happy, and this YouTube channel makes me happy, and my basement makes me happy. But yeah, it's just I don't really have much interest in doing things. I don't want to meet people. I don't want to go outside. I don't get all like warm and fuzzy when I'm around people and stuff like that. So if you lost interest in hobbies and stuff like that, that's something that you need to be aware of, and you need to be prepared to talk about it. No energy is another one. Just don't really care and don't have any energy. Like what's there to wake up for? You have no energy to do anything. Like, what's the point? That one kind of overlaps into chronic fatigue syndrome, which I also have. That one actually isn't a mental health rating. So chronic fatigue syndrome, if you're a Gulf War veteran especially, is something you probably should look into. Feeling worthless. Yeah, just my life's worthless. Divorced, can't get a job. Again, it just kind of comes back for me, what's the point? What's the point of moving on tomorrow? I already know what tomorrow's going to be like. It's going to suck. Difficulty concentrating on anything because you don't care about anything, right? So those are all things that those are all symptoms of depression. They fall under this depressed mood category. And we will move on to the next one. And back to the screen share. So anxiety, right? This can, again, for me, I had unspecified anxiety disorder for a while. That one turned into generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD. So I've had both of those. They change with time. Doctors, not really sure how it changed. Maybe the DSM changed or something like that, but I've had both, and now I have generalized anxiety disorder. And for me, this is where panic attacks come in, and panic attacks are another symptom. Full screen. White Claw, cheers. So panic attacks are just like, they just come on. And I'll talk more about them, but like, you're literally freaking out. Like the title of the thumbnail or whatever is like, are you crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy. That's one of my crazy symptoms. I just can't control it. Who's outside? Are they out to get me? They are out to get me. Did I just see somebody walk past the window? I did see somebody walk past the window. Who's out there? What's going on? You get worked up in this, and you just you fear for your life. It just escalates quickly, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. Am I crazy right now? What's going on out there? And yeah, it's just kind of a state that I'm always in. Let me hop over to super chat mode, because we have one. So let me throw it on the screen. You appreciate the knowledge. If I have a question, can you email me? Yeah, I'm not very good with email. Probably asking it in the comments is best, but combatcraig@protonmail.com is the best place to get a hold of me. Give me some time. I just really suck at email. Email and phone calls sound like a job, and my YouTube channel doesn't feel like a job. So I apologize. I do my best at answering people. So back to anxiety. So panic attacks for me are part of anxiety. They make it impossible to function in a social or a work-like setting. And if you think about it, you have to go through it. You have kids or, whatever, marriage or whatever you got going on. You just kind of suck it up and go through it. But, when you're in my situation where I lost my wife, I have no kids, I've got a dog and me, I'm literally right now locked in a basement with a bunch of shit on the walls, some lighting, and live streaming to you guys. And got my guns around me, got my surveillance cameras up there. Like, I feel pretty good. And I have everything in order. I feel like I could defend myself because they're out to get me. Who cares? Come on in. I'm ready, I guess. Or maybe not. Right. So anxiety is like that. And one thing that works for anxiety for me is Xanax. It just it's an instant acting thing, but it's a benzo. The VA quit prescribing them a long time ago. If you get on them with the VA, waste of time. They'll try to wean you off of them. Just like compared to the alternatives of, drinking and doing street drugs, I think Xanax is a joke. I've taken it forever. I mean, I don't think it's a joke. It's like it's prescribed to me compared to what I would be doing, self-medicating, which that's a joke. So I have no problem taking Xanax. You might too. I don't know if you can get them. I wouldn't go through the VA, but if you have really bad anxiety, I'd give it a shot for sure. Suspiciousness. So this is one like, you're like a cop all the time, right? You're the neighborhood cop. I live in a neighborhood where I don't have to police anything, but I do it anyway. I mean, I police my property. I was a cop, so maybe that's part of it, or maybe it's better for me to just kind of go down this road to explain it. But I don't believe anything at face value. I don't believe anything in front of my eyes, especially if I'm looking at somebody and their pie hole's talking. I'm already like, everybody's a criminal and they're lying to me. It's just a weird, it's just in me. Shouldn't be in me, but it's in me. I'm looking for cracks in this story. There's no reason. Like, it's like, hey, what's up, Combat Craig? The sky's blue. Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing in front of me? What are you talking? The skies don't exist. Blue? Yeah, you're in fairy tale land. I just don't believe it. That's just part of suspiciousness. So your internal compass is all jacked up. Hard to explain. That's the best way that I can explain it. And, like anxiety, you might, turn inward and isolate yourself away from people so you don't have to deal with it. I don't think a doctor, and I've talked to multiple doctors, one of the things they like to do to solve suspiciousness, self-isolation, not so much depression, anxiety. They want you to like get reintegrated. They'll get you into like not now, but they'll like a PTSD group, like, oh, you need to get reintegrated and re-socialized. I'm like, no, I don't. I need to stay away from people. So nobody's going to, get on board with you with your isolation. And you kind of need to know when you're talking to doctors what they're trying to do with you and what you're trying to do, which is get the correct diagnosis, rating, and get everything documented properly, right? The severity, frequency, and duration of your symptoms. So just for me, less people, less drama. That should be a t-shirt. I might make a t-shirt that says that. But I mean, it's not just like a bullshit thing. It's like I interact with my dog and I know his motives are pure, right? Like that's all I deal with. I know he loves me and nothing else is going on. Human being gets in front of me, whole different ballgame. Let's take a question or two. See what we got over here on the question category. Let's see. Say hi to everybody, if nothing else. Gun guy, what up? What's going on, man? Yeah, ATX, bupropion. That is the generic for Wellbutrin. Been on that forever. There's no exceptions to that rule. I trust Clyde. Some people that get close to me, I trust you more. But it's not an exclusive trust. And trust but verify, right? Mm-hmm. I have more enemies and no friends. It's just, it's the way you look at it. And, again, they're going to try to put you in treatment. And for me, I'm cool with that. More enemies than friends. I'm just in this point right now in this last year and a half where I'm like trying to work on me and in order to like figure out what my problems are and all that kind of stuff, I need to just get everybody else out of the way and stay in my own head as much as I can stand it because my head's pretty crazy. But I could totally relate with that. Ryan, I didn't post your picture, man. Ryan purchased some Combat Craig merch and sent me a picture of it the other day. Lorazepam, is that Xanax? I think it is. I have to look at my bottle. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I've been lagging on going live. I was doing it a lot, publishing a lot of videos. What I'm doing is the YouTube algorithm, right? So it's a weird animal. I don't want to get too into it, but it's kind of like, just bombard them with videos and then back off and see what happens. And then more lives and less videos. And I know you guys just want more videos, but I wanted to give it a couple days and chill out. Nothing's wrong with me. I've just been kind of sitting back waiting on the results of this one video to see if I could get it to lift. And it's not. So YouTube algorithm, you could suck it. I'm going full speed ahead again. Okay, let's see. What's up? Okay, let's see. Whoa. Tom Marine Vet became a new member. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, I have a little membership thing. Pays for Clyde's biscuits. Peeking out the blinds. Yeah. I don't actually go to the blinds because I have surveillance cameras. If I'm going to peek out blinds, I'm way too close to the windows. So that's just me. I have surveillance cameras. All right. Before I go through a couple more comments, be right back. Okay, I'm back. How's my audio? Hopefully it's sufficient. Going to scroll back through some on to the next one as I digress. Let's get this out of the way. What are you doing, mister? You want to come say hi? Come here. Whoops. Clyde wants to be on the Clyde cam. Whoops. That's who I trust. You want to breathe into the microphone? Say something, boy. Yep. That's all I trust. Okay, beat it. We're live. All right, so we covered suspiciousness. Where's my mouse? Okay, panic attacks. So there's a couple of them on the DBQ here, and we're just going down the list. So panic attacks that occur weekly or less often, panic attacks more than once a week. My last video actually broke this down. They mix all these symptoms up, the things that you could typically find in the 0, 10, and 30%. And then there's 50, and then there's 70, and then there's 100. So this is a big one. Do you have panic attacks that occur weekly or less? Are you in a constant state of panic? And if you are, that would be the more than once a week category. And this is the way they look at it and rate it. So panic attacks. Anybody have any? Type panic attacks in there if you have any. They come on suddenly out of the blue. It's an intense fear for your life. It's like full blown within like 2 minutes. Symptoms associated with panic attacks are like sweating. Your heart starts pounding. You start shaking. You can't breathe. Chest pain, choking, nausea, feeling dizzy, hot flashes or chills, numbness, tingling. You feel like you're going crazy. You're going to die. It's weird. When you explain panic attacks, To a psychologist, they may come out differently because they may show up differently. That's what's tricky about mental health. It may normally be like this, but then you get one like that. Do the best you can to explain what your panic attacks are like. And this is a big one. If you have them, don't be embarrassed about it. You need to explain that you have panic attacks. And typically, they won't ask you too much about, all the symptoms associated, but, heart pounding, hot flashes, freaking out, feeling like I'm going to die, fear for your life is kind of like that's kind of the deal. And they usually come and go after 10 or 15 minutes. No, Clyde, go away. So panic attacks that occur more than once a week. Same symptoms, but they, occur more than once a week. So a lot of this has to do with frequency, duration, and severity. So this is a frequency one. Duration for panic attacks, whatever, according to medical studies, which I'm not a doctor, they come on. They usually don't last for very long. They're usually pretty intense. And so the duration part is usually the same. The frequency is what they're looking for if you're looking for a higher rating. So if you have a more, you got to talk about it. So it's a big one on the DBQ. And it's a 70% rating symptom if you get panic attacks that occur more than once a week. Just something to keep in mind when you're trying to fit yourself into the rating criteria. And am I at 0 and 10, which you shouldn't be, because those are like kind of non-existent. I think 30 and 50 are low ball, but I understand them a little more. 70 and 100, when you're trying to fit yourself into these symptoms, panic attacks that occur more than once a week are one of them. Chronic sleep impairment. Let me check the super chats, make sure we're good. Okay. Also, if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, and whenever my crazy ass goes on camera, you might get a notification from YouTube, you might not. Chronic sleep impairment. Insomnia is the best way to describe this one. I've had it for years. Difficulty falling and staying asleep. And for me, I take trazodone. So it's like, I don't even know what I would do without trazodone. I've been taking trazodone nonstop since 2008. I just that's one, you don't overtake those or you don't run out. That would be a nightmare. So I sleep when I sleep, and trazodone helps put me down. That helped me successfully get through the sleep study I had for sleep apnea as well. If I had any kind of normal job, I'd never be able to function, even with the aid of trazodone, or, I've tried a couple others. I've always worked from home because, I sleep when I sleep. So if I'm sleepy, or I could finally go to sleep from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I call it a nap. It's probably a lot longer than a nap. It might be a night's sleep. I'm going to hop in and get that sleep whenever I can get it. So again, kids, work, social life. You may or may not be in this category. You might be, you might not be able to do this. But chronic sleep impairment, AKA insomnia, big one. And also, just another fun fact about insomnia is, if you say you have insomnia, you do have insomnia, and you're, working on a diagnosis for insomnia, that's typically going to fall into a mental health rating. And, chronic sleep impairment, insomnia, typically that's like a 30% rating. And if you already have a mental health rating of 30, 50, or 70 or something like that, and your sleep problems are a problem, sleep apnea is another route that you can go and get a separate rating for the insomnia. The VA has this law called pyramiding, and they don't let you to stack symptoms. That's why mental health stuff's kind of a pain in the ass. So keep that in mind if you have if you're going for a sleep apnea claim or you're considering it. You can kind of move the insomnia over to that, if that makes any sense. Let's go take a few more questions. Let's see what we got for questions here. Scrolling down. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like a sleep aid. And it varies. It works when it works because you go down and go to sleep. It's like whatever, 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock or whatever you try to go to sleep. And then you just can't sleep. And it's like you're awake. So, however long it puts you down for, I mean, that's solid sleep. It's important to do a sleep study to see how bad your sleep is. I did a sleep study and I think I got it. There's like 4 stages of sleep. I think just really, really winging it here. Like stage 1, 2, I think it's like REM 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is like a deep sleep. 3 is a pretty good sleep. When I was in my sleep study, I never even made it into stage 3. So really light sleep. And when you're not getting into stage 3 or 4, you're not sleeping. Your body's not resting. You're kicking around. Your restless legs are kicking around. Your brain's not at rest in those stages, whatever that's worth. Good evening. What's up, Sam? That's one of the biggest things about mental health, sleep, whatever. Like you just think it's normal because, I mean, it's your normal. Not like a VA rating's going to change that. It's just normal for you. So it's so normal. And who are you going to tell? Like nobody cares. Like yeah, the wife. Like yeah, I got sleep problems. Like all right, whatever. Go to sleep, jackass. Like stay up for 2 days and then you'll sleep. Whatever it is, right? So you don't really get a chance to articulate yourself and explain what's going on. So it is normal. These things, these mental health symptoms, they're normal. That's all you know, and that's all you know for like 10 or 20 years. And now we got YouTube and we're talking and figuring this stuff out together. And it's like, wow, crazy. Okay, so that's actually not normal. So you'll find that it's not normal, but it's your normal, and a VA rating isn't going to change it. I'm cool with this one. Views vibe. Yep. 3 a.m. Panic attack is a symptom. And I just covered those. Lyria. Depends on how often you have them. The VA kind of looks at them for rating purposes. Panic attacks that occur once a week or more, or less than once a week. So you got to figure out which category you're in and make sure they understand where you're at. I don't know. I don't even know. Not Ambien. Lunesta or whatever. I tried a bunch of that stuff. Trazodone's the one that worked. I know erectile dysfunction is a side effect, so that could be a special monthly compensation K. Loss of use claim. Trazodone definitely causes that, and that's the thing that you have to deal with is the side effects. Whatever side effects that actually happen to me or listed on the med bottles or whatever, at least I know what they are. Street drugs and alcohol, those are a whole separate problem. Except White Claw, this stuff's easy, like Bud Light. Insomnia is a normal part of life for a lot of us. It's just you just can't sleep. The best thing that I can do is get something that'll put your ass out, elephant tranquilizer, something, and don't just stop at one of them. The VA is limited on what they will prescribe you. I don't even know. I don't get any of my psych meds from the VA because they're retards and just whatever. I don't like their rules. No Xanax. So just keep trying things and see if you can find something that'll knock you out for a couple hours. I'm glad that you find me very informative. I try to be informative. Let's see what we got. I don't know if you're talking about. Oh, okay, Xanax. Yeah, so I've had a private psychiatrist prescribe me Xanax for years. Yeah, it just works. It's like any problem with the Xanax? No. So he keeps prescribing them to me. I pay him cash, and yeah, I've had various outside insurance, but yeah, that's just one. That's a non-starter for me. I need to have my Xanax. For side effects, and by the way, ATX Patriot is a raider, so he knows. So he's saying for side effects, he goes to drugs.com and plugs in the meds, and it'll list the side effects. It's one of the easiest way to get a separate secondary rating for side effects. If you're taking something for insomnia like trazodone and it causes erectile dysfunction, then you can file a secondary claim because you're taking medication for something you're service connected for. Erectile dysfunction isn't something that you want. You have it because of the meds that you're on. Let's see. It's funny. You wouldn't know what to do with 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, you'd be too rested. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's not sleep, but I just lay in bed. That's part of the chronic fatigue syndrome part. So I'm not really sleeping. I'm just dozing in and out and just no energy, no motivation, don't really care. Asking for a fellow vet. I love that question or phraseology. What happens if you accidentally upload the wrong evidence? I would correct it as soon as you can. You can call the 800 number, 800-827-1000, or you could, a typical way to just communicate when you're engaged with a VA in the claims process is to fill out a personal statement. That's changed as well. It's no longer 21-41-38. I don't know what it is. It's relatively new. But tell them that you had a problem or your friend had a problem or whatever. Have you've probably been on Xanax for a long time, I'm guessing. My understanding is around 2010, they no longer prescribe Xanax as like a way to deal with anxiety. But, the VA is a VA. It's gigantic, biggest healthcare system in the world. So who knows, what they do from one VA to the next. I can't figure them out. You can't make them outsource you, but there's things like the Mission Act and community care. You have to request it, and that's a whole nother kind of pain in the ass thing. But yeah, I mean, if your VA doctors suck, you need to get to an outside doctor. It's a process. I remember the last time I was like the podiatrist. I wanted to do that care in the community, so I needed an authorization for the money. And then I needed a separate authorization for the medical need. So it was 2 authorizations, took forever. Stay on it. You can get it. Sometimes it's easier to just go pay a doctor to go do what you need to do. And I don't know too much about sending them the bill and all that kind of stuff. I do know that's available, but be careful. Just going to urgent care or going to an outside doctor and assuming they're going to pick up the tab. I would understand what all that means before you go do it. Okay, let's go through some more. God, my dog is annoying me right now. Okay. Why is this thing not? Oh, shit. I'm screwing up the live. Sorry. Got screens all over the place. Okay. Impairment of short and long-term memory. So, and this is the verbiage on the DBQ. Impairment of, mild memory loss such as forgetting names, directions, or recent events. So, don't find yourself forgetting things that you should know. Everything's on the tip of your tongue. You can't spit it out. It's like, I don't like, you know, how you do that with like movies and TV shows, or, it's like Robert De Niro, like you can't remember. Um, that's one example of mild memory loss. I'm not good with names or faces. Usually it's one or the other. So like a lot of people, I walk up and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Combat Craig. And I'm like, take a picture of them and put their name on my phone. You know, like, whoa, that's pretty invasive. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to remember who you are if I don't take a picture and put a note and put your name in here. So that's one example of mild memory loss. Another one is like forgetting, you know, how to get places that you go to all the time. If I didn't have Google Maps on my phone, like always, I just zone out, forget where I'm going, space out, get pissed off at other drivers on the road rage. I'm not going to really talk about that, but that happens. And, you know, I'll go out and the goal is Home Depot or whatever, something. And I'll go out and drive. And if I don't have the maps turned on, I'm like, what in the hell am I doing? I'm going back home. So like, I don't even know what I'm doing out here. Time to roll back home. That's my safe spot. So examples of mild memory loss could be things like that. Can't remember names, faces, where you're going, what you're doing, and you have to figure out how to explain this to a doctor. Impairment is short and long-term memory. For example, retention of only highly learned material while forgetting to complete tasks. So highly learned material means stuff that you've learned since you were a little kid. So you're like brushing your teeth, combing your hair, not a problem I have, combing my beard, not really a problem I have either. So, you know, things you were taught as a little kid and you do them your entire life. Your problem is like, where's my keys? Where's my wallet? Where's my phone at? I lose that stuff constantly. And I actually have a thing called Tile, and it's a GPS tracking device for my wallet. I stuff it in my wallet. I have it attached to my keychain, and then it's automatically on my phone. Plus you have Find Your iPhone. So I literally leave these things everywhere. Like I lose them constantly. I'm like, cool. The tile battery needs to be recharged. I never lag on that stuff because I just lose my shit. Because I literally lose my shit all the time. So that's an example of something that, you know, you just forget a lot. So if you forget like these common things, that might be an impairment of short and long-term memory. I have both. Memory loss of close relatives, your own name and own occupation. This one is in the 100% category. I'm not going to go over it too much here. This is kind of more like people that have dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. I don't have memory loss of close relatives, my name and my occupation. You might be in the 100% category. And again, to be in the 100% category, you don't need exactly this. It's just one of the kind of guidelines. Flattened Effect. And before we get into Flattened Effect, I need another quick break. Flattened Effect. So this is when somebody is non-responsive, when they should be experiencing an actual emotion like happiness. You teach your son how to ride a bike. You should be stoked on that, versus like, oh, okay, that's great. But this one's kind of tough because a lot of things might not hype you up. You got to figure out if you actually have this or not. I would say that I don't have it, although I have kind of symptoms of it, but I don't think I have it. So you got to kind of try some of these things on and see, like, am I even in the ballpark here? So, I experience this a lot with kids when adults are, getting pumped up at an event or something like that. And, like at a softball game, like, I don't have kids, so I don't know what that's like. And then a softball game means a lot of people that I am looking to see who's armed and who's not. So that's another problem. So I'm more focused on the threats around me and stuff like that, and panic attacks coming on. So Flatten Effect for me doesn't happen, but it might be something that you experience. Let's do some more questions here. We'll go full screen, and I'm going to try to do. Where's my phone? I'm going to try to do my other camera here. So bear with me for a second. What's that thing called? Keep asking questions. We got some people in the chat answering. Thumbs ups are good. We got 106 eyeballs watching. Let's see. Connecting to your computer. Huh. Wonder if this thing actually works. Let's see. Standby. Try something new. This thing kind of sucks. Yeah. Not really working too hot. Auto connection. Oh, wow. Look at that. Bitching. So let's take a little tour. Wow, that's awesome. All right. So this is my microphone's going to be a problem here probably. So this is connected to my phone. That's all my GoPro stuff. Let's take a little tour around the studio. I wonder how to do the microphone. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. So now we're wireless. That's my setup. It's an A6100, and the lens is a 16 millimeter 1.4 Sony A6100. That's kind of my deal. Got my second monitor over there. My desk, I'm still working on it. Got my flags. I was thinking it would be kind of funny to come over here and do anatomical stuff. Got some more flags, license plates, some lighting. This is like my background stuff. Got some drones. Skateboard collection. Anybody that follows skating, I know a few of you do. Faction, Stevie Caballero. Blind, that one's Ronnie Krieger. Heartogram is something that Bam Margera, that's his board there, was popular. This is all like in the early 2000s. Christian Asoy, one of my favorite skaters. Jeremy Klein. Chris Gentry, he's a friend of mine. Ryan Sheckler, this is like, yeah, Sheckler from like 2005. That was when he was like 13 or 14. I've known Sheckler for a long time. What else we got? Yeah, another Sheckler from 2005. That's funny. So H Street, this is like the old kind of board I used to skate in the 80s and 90s. This is a X Games board, Bucky Lassick, Jake Brown, 2003 looks like. Pierre Luc, Rune, Toss. I used to just go to these contests and get them signed. Bucky, Pierre, Jake, Hawk. This is another little contest board. So anyway, that's the tour. That worked out pretty well. Hopefully that was entertaining. Switch the camera back. Huh, that actually kind of worked. Hopefully that wasn't too boring. Oh, you can't hear me? Sorry about that. Hopefully everything's normal now. Yeah, I think my microphone, I was trying to turn on the microphone from the phone, but sorry. Okay, can't hear me. Gotcha. Okay, got it. All right. Let's do some questions. How long are we going for? 51 minutes. Moving right along. Yep, Clyde is a handsome boy. Thumbs up. Yeah, so with the flattened effect, you have it. The next part is getting diagnosed and then severity of your symptoms. So you got to kind of figure that out. The diagnosis is step one, as ATX Patriot is pointing out. Night, night, Desert Rose. You got a question. You received your DBQ. You have some objections that your provider wrote. What should I do? Do I need to hire an attorney already, or should I wait till I get my VA rating? So you already filed a claim. I don't know if you got your DBQ from your CNP exam, but your claim's in motion. I would wait for it to play out. You need to get your decision letter before you do anything. You already submitted your claim. You put your best foot forward, whether that was your best foot or no foot. You need to wait for your decision letter, and you might be surprised. You probably already know it's going to happen, but that's your next step. VA, your move. They give you the decision letter, and then the ball's back in your court. Yeah, wait till you get it, and that's part of it. This is a long process. I know it's longer now. Could be 9 months or something like that. But this is one of those things where you file your claim correctly up front, and you bring all the evidence, and you think about everything before you do it. And you submit your intent to file, and take all the time you need. So when you do actually pull the trigger and file your claim, you've done everything possible, and you're like, and mild memory loss and all that bullshit. It's like, you've thought everything you possibly can and anticipated everything they may do or what you may need. So you're not stuck in the middle of the claims process going, wow, that sucked. I know I'm going to lose. But, if that happens, it happens. You can always appeal it, and you can always file another claim. Took me 27 years to finally get it right. And a lot of people that, watch this channel, it's taken a lot of us a long time to figure it out. I know that doesn't comfort you at all, but it's reality. All right, let's go to a couple more. Let's go into these ones because these ones kind of confused me for a while. So they call it circumstantial circumlocatory. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Or stereotyped speech. Again, not a doctor, not a accredited agent of any kind. Just going out here, giving you my 2 cents. So circumstantial speech. You add in irrelevant details, right? Unnecessary comments. And you ramble instead of answering a direct question. So like I ramble. I'm like literally doing it right now. So is it circumstantial speech? I don't think so. So here's an example. Let's say, somebody asks you if you had a pet, like the answer would be, yes, I have a dog. His name's Clyde. That might be like a normal answer. But instead you're like, yes. And then you start rambling on about the history of pets and how they started in the 1200 AD or whatever. And then you're wandering on to the characteristics of your best friend's pet, who's a parrot, and what he says. And you're just going on and on and on before you just are like, oh yeah, I've got a pet. So that's an example of circumstantial speech. Talking around, rambling, adding in a bunch of irrelevant details, unnecessary comments instead of answering the question. It's not something, I mean, you're doing it. It's a symptom. Circumlocutory. I'm never going to pronounce this right. I'll work on it. So this is screecher. So circumlocatory speech. So this is a method of explaining a word's definition of detail and avoiding the word itself. So you describe things in great detail. Again, this is a version of this rambling and unnecessary comments, but this is very specific. So, like, if you're asked what you sleep on at night, you may be like, oh yeah, it's just like this structure, and it's got like legs, and it's got this platform thing that's hard, and it's got this mattress thing, and then over the mattress I got this little pee sheet because I pissed the bed, and then I got these other little cover things, and then I have this comfort thing, and then I have these other things, and it's like they just were looking for bed, and you're describing in great detail. So that could be one example of it. Socks. The answer is socks. What is socks for $10, Alex? Well, they're these warm pieces of clothing that you put on your feet. And it's cool because they kind of they go in your shoe and they go around your foot. And the whole thing is like you keep your feet warm, like socks. That's the answer. So those are examples of circumlocatory speech. And I'm slaughtering that. Stereotyped speech. This one, I couldn't really find much about stereotyped speech. I find more about stereotype behavior. And the easiest way I could come up with this is Rain Man kind of stuff. So if you haven't watched the movie, you won't know what I'm talking about. Illogical, obscure, or irrelevant speech. Unlike some of the symptoms that I mentioned above, where what do you sleep in? And you're talking about this fort with a mattress and you meant to say bed and you're over explaining, but you kind of you understand what the conversation's about. Illogical, obscure, or irrelevant speech. Like, what are socks? What is a bed? And you're talking about politics or something completely unrelated. It's literally self-explanatory, but I wanted to explain it anyway. Whoever asks you a question about something and you have illogical, obscure, or irrelevant speech, they're going to walk away going, wow, I'm confused because this guy just confused me. Difficulty understanding complex commands. You have problems understanding what somebody's asking you to do. You're asked to follow up with a client, for example, right? You need to make contact and you need to log it into some spreadsheet or some CRM or something like that. And you have problems figuring out what that meant. You didn't ask the question, which is one of the parts of this understanding complex commands. You're just kind of like, okay. You're like, because you didn't want to get fired probably. So you're like, oh, okay, I'll do that. You didn't know, was it a call? Was it a text? Was it an email? And then it's like, okay, I'll log it in a spreadsheet. What's a spreadsheet? Which spreadsheet? So you just don't understand what the command was. It's just called difficulty understanding complex commands. And the last one that I'm going to go over for tonight is impaired judgment. This one is self-explanatory. It's what you think it is, but you have to see how you apply it to your own life. So you're basically making decisions, bad decisions, and no regard for consequences. Drinking and driving, good one. Buying a brand new computer, oh, that looks cool, and you throw it on a credit card and you don't have any way to pay the credit card off, and then you're going to destroy your credit. You make decisions, you do impulsive stuff, and you don't even think, you think about now and you don't think about tomorrow. And I am actually on this one all day long, specifically with not the drinking and driving one. I actually know to stay home. But yeah, I buy stuff and I don't think about it. I mean, I have a way to pay for it, I guess. But my judgment is impaired constantly. So that was the 14 of the mental health symptoms that I wanted to cover so far. I'm going to hop back into the comments again. Go crazy. Going crazy. We're all crazy. That's why these videos work, and sharing stuff works. Like, what does this stuff mean? My Zoom is sucking right now. What does this stuff mean? And then how can I use it to, get a claim going? Oh, my Zoom is not working. Oh, that's a little better. So how can I use these things in my DBQ to actually get a rating of any kind, and then get the right rating? So hopefully, like, talking about this stuff will give you some ideas. It probably just confused you, which is fine. It's an eye opener, and it's like, wow, I might have that, or, oh, that's a symptom. Then you have to get a diagnosis. Got to have the diagnosis, and I mean, they're all in here. This is all mental health symptoms, and I'm going to do there's another 15 of them. Try to break them down pretty much like I did this. But before I do that, another break. All right, let's see what we got here. Couple more questions. What do we got going on? 103 people watching. Show you my behind the scenes thing. In case you're wondering and you like being a tech dork, I use a program called Ecamm Live. So I can see all the comments, and I hop into the comments when I don't make any sense. It is because I'm crazy, and I don't make any sense because I'm just hopping in the middle of comments, throwing in my 2 cents. But yeah, this is what my behind the scenes look. I have my monitor here, my camera over here. Just kind of funny how everything goes. So I'm monitoring audio, except obviously when I took off with my Wi-Fi phone, that didn't work very well. And so that's it for Tech Geeks Ecamm Live, and I run it off of a Mac. So let's take a few more questions. And I don't know why my Zoom is not working. Okay, let's see. What's up? Mike E. from Philly in the house. What's up, man? And this is one you just have to talk about it. Obviously, if you got popped, talk about that even more because you have a record or you have a DUI. Yeah, drinking and driving, like I just didn't even give a shit about drinking and driving. I just did it. So it's just one of those things, just like no control, don't care, don't worry about the consequences because that's tomorrow or so, like I don't even care if I'm going to be alive tomorrow. Last thing I'm worried about is the consequences from a DUI. So we learn how to drink like champs in the military. That's the legal drug or whatever, not drug, alcohol. We learn how to drink in the military, no matter what branch you're in. We become alcoholics or to some degree or another. And yeah, you got to talk about your alcohol use and alcohol abuse. And it's a good way to explain how you deal with and cope with your mental health stuff. If yeah, I don't have money to go to a psychiatrist and the VA is just like difficult or you're not even able to get in to get treated for whatever reason, you're going to drink and you're going to do drugs and you're going to do stuff. And you need to be able to talk about it and open it all up. If you're a full blown alcoholic, this is the time to talk about it. Ratings come out of this stuff. Yeah, I know. I see that. Thanks. It's got I don't know what it's doing. Sorry about the zoom. It's actually supposed to be, I'm not looking at it enough. It has face recognition and eyeball focusing, but obviously it's not working. Let's see. Scrolling through. Yep, a lot of people eat too. Eating disorders are different. They live under mental health disorders. Bulimia and anorexia are like diagnosable, for lack of a better, and rateable, and they're separate than mental health. Look into it and do your research. They're tricky, but they are. You can have a mental health rating and then a eating disorder, but it's a specific eating disorder, specific diagnosis, same drill. Lot of us have to be that way. I fight it, but I don't know. I have some control, I guess. No hard stuff, just drink piss water kind of alcohol, and I don't get too out of hand. But yeah, a lot of us need to be sober and totally understand that. Talk about that as well. The fact that you need to be sober and you had alcohol problems. Yep. Uber wasn't an option in the 90s either, right? John lost the battle but won the war. Denied migraines but got increase on eczema. Took you from 93 to 100. Don't expect PNT, still learning. Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get there. Just get there. So awesome. I talk shit about skin conditions, which is where eczema falls under a lot. But have a strategy, have a clue. You got to figure out what you're doing. Like all these mental health things I just went over, like I went and researched all these things. I just went down the DBQ and like, what does this mean? And I can't even pronounce half of this stuff. And it doesn't really matter if I can or I can't. Do the research and figure out what you have and figure out what you can make stick and then go stick it and pin the tail on the VA donkey. Congratulations on the hundo. Doesn't need to be pretty. You just need to be able to make it stick. And like you said, you don't know if it's going to be permanent and total. That's something that, if your conditions are considered static, they'll just give it to you. You can ask for it. You can have a doctor write you, can I have a P&T status note? They'll give it to you when you're ready. Age has a lot to do with it and the severity of your conditions and whether they're static or not. But you're 100. Perfect. Welcome to the Hundo Club. Wow. Took you 25 years. Sounds like me, man. Got all the back pay too. Wow, that was a big payday. Yeah, Somalia, Gulf War. And that's the way it happens a lot. Once you figure out you can, and that's why this happens a lot. A lot of us don't even know we can file a claim, or we're whatever entitled, I guess, or whatever. We should be compensated, and then it happens like that. You do it right, boom, get your 100% and get some back pay too. That's crazy. Erectile over fiction. I'm a rambling like a mofo fool. I'm scrolling up the comments now, so it's slowing down. And I'm going to get stuck trying to read this stuff, trying to grab stuff I could talk about. Oh, I totally missed a super chat. I'm sorry. So why aren't you promoting that one company anymore? So I am promoting myself and promoting just any one particular company doesn't make sense for me anymore. I use VA Claims Insider. I promoted them a lot, and I've just kind of learned people aren't having the greatest experience with them. I get it. Everybody's different. Every claim's different. For me, I would prefer to just kind of encourage you to use your own judgment and find something that works for you, get your own doctors and all that kind of stuff. Nothing against them. They work for me, but now I'm in a different spot, right? When I was trying to prove my claim and I was completely clueless, they work for me. But now as I sit here and I know more about the process, I'm just not so big on the recommendation stuff. I do recommend a Facebook group, Veterans Claims Assistance Group, and I'm just definitely more on, you should get an accredited agent involved because it's real easy. And I just got one, I don't know, 2 days ago, like, hey, Combat Craig, I got this, this, and this. And he sends me all of his shit with his social security number, delete. I don't want any kind of HIPAA violation. I don't want to see your personal information. And I know it's, I know it's tempting to do that because you feel like you know me or you feel we have something in common, and we do, but you really shouldn't be just sending your information around the internet. And that's why accredited agents are probably the best way for you to go. Let's see. Clyde, stop. Going through. What's up, Army George? How's it going? You had a question about something. I'm sure that doesn't help. Let's see. Getting stuck. Not seeing any questions jumping out. Looks like a lot of answers are happening, so that's good. Yep, I hate every noise too. I'm suspicious of everything if I don't know what it is. Pro tip: live underground in a basement. The noise gets suppressed a lot. Probably not the greatest way, but it works. Let's see. All right. I think I'm going to roll out. I think I've answered some of the questions. Haven't been very consistent with these lives, and I appreciate you guys spending the last hour or so with me. Hopefully you learned something. I'm going to come up with part 2. Just another thing about mental health claims, whatever disability you have, whether it's a physical disability, an orthopedic condition, your foot, your back, whatever, tinnitus, everything is intertwined with your brain. Your brain drives the bus. Mental health is involved, whether you want to admit it or not. And that's why I talk about mental health stuff so much. It's a powerful direct service connection claim if you can make it work, but an even more powerful secondary service connection claim. And it just covers so much of this stuff that you go through. So keeping it real. I try to keep it real, man. Absolutely. All right, you guys. I'm going to roll out. I'll see you in the next video.